Yo, it's Mac from the Everyday Nobody's podcast. I know you see the title, so let's get straight to it. Kai Cenat hates Joe Budden. This week, while talking about Killer Mike sweeping the Grammys, Kai and Joe both had opposing views on who should have actually won the awards. Believe it or not, this little tit for tat has been going on for a little minute. But before we get to that, let me ask you this. Do you think Joe is just an old head who be hating, or is Kai Cenat just a little too sensitive for this? So to tell the story, we got to take you back about 6 years ago. It'll help make sense of all this shit. About 6 years ago, Joe and Akademiks, they had a show called Everyday Struggle. They would get together and they talk about hip-hop and the culture. One day, Lil Yachty pulls up to have a conversation with Joe, Nadeska, and Akademiks. Joe was on 10 with Yachty, like he was grilling the fuck out of him.
So maybe he has been media trained. This is a very media trained answer that I'm getting.
Not a media
All right, so let me
answer.
respond
It's
to what
just
you're
how I
saying.
am.
Okay, let me tell you about how humans are.
Okay, I'm listening.
Feelings are fickle. What that means is they come and they go. Nobody is one thing forever. You cannot tell me, you would be the line to tell me that as a young man, how old are you?
19.
In this industry, in this music industry, in the music business, you are happy 24/7. That is a lie.
So-
that is bullshit, and I refuse to have somebody tell me bullshit. I want to have an honest
So when you
conversation.
come,
You see, at that time, this was the time of the SoundCloud era and the guys with the face tattoos and the funny colored hair. And for some reason, Lil Yachty was like the face. He was the poster boy of this era of hip-hop. A big part of it is he went on a radio show and he was saying how he didn't really know anything from Biggie and Tupac, and that pissed off a lot of the hip-hop purists. Really, he was just a young kid who was uninformed because he didn't grow up on that hip-hop. But that created an image of him, and a lot of older people were just attacking him. Joe grilling Yachty like that would become one of the biggest moments on Everyday Struggle. Fast forward a little bit later in that year, Joe, Akademiks, and Nadeska would be interviewing the Migos, and that would be the infamous mic drop incident. As a fan, we didn't really know what sparked that interaction, but we would later find out that the Migos didn't really fuck with Joe Budden. Reason being, they felt like Joe was using Lil Yachty, who was their label mate, as a punching bag. Every time he talks about what he doesn't like about this generation or this era of music, he's using Lil Yachty as a punchline. They don't like that shit. And CEO P, who's the CEO of their label, he pulled Joe aside and he was like, hey, you gotta stop doing that shit. And that's pretty much where the arc of, oh, Joe Budden is a hater and he hates on the youth, that's where that started. And that's basically the same thing that's going on now, where instead of it being with hip hop, it's streaming. Kai is the biggest streamer of all time, so he's basically the face of streaming. He represents the youth. So instead of Joe saying streamers or all young streamers or the guys who are popping right now, he says Kai because he's the face. So let's fast forward to a few months ago. Kai was doing a PS5 giveaway in New York. That shit caused absolute pandemonium in the streets. All the kids were excited to see him, and basically they shut down a section of New York that's already congested. So the police decided to arrest him for inciting a riot. Joe made a statement saying that he's happy Kai got locked up.
I want to be clear.
I got a problem with that shit he did in Times Square.
That's
I
the
mean,
old
not Times Square, Union Square.
Union Square. That's the old nigga in you, yo. But again, if you're from New York, you know how packed that area gets. Now that's the old head in you, bro. Young
So
niggas
you're
don't-
not an old head, and yet you understand.
Oh shit! Wait, what?
You just said, yeah, but it's crowded over there. So you do understand.
I understand it.
Friday, Halloween time, or whenever that was, something was going on around there.
One of them holidays.
Yeah.
Nah, because
you
you
don't
know,
do that in New York. We already dealing with congestive pricing. We
Yeah.
trying to, dog, it's overpopulated,
Yeah.
dense as it is.
Mhm.
You in Atlanta,
Mhm.
you are extremely popular.
Mhm.
Cool. Find a better way to do that than fucking up the streets of New York.
And this
But,
is a
but it's
giveaway,
not
right?
personal to him.
A lot of people were mad about that because they're like, why would you want this young black kid who's doing something nice? He's giving away PS5s to his community. Why would you want him arrested? Joe's looking at it as an older man. He's saying, hey, you are clogging up a city. People are trying to get places. They're trying to get to work. You are making this whole city fucked up right now, and it's already congested. And on top of that, somebody can get hurt. You need to recognize how much power you have. So now let's fast forward to October 6th. That's when Drake's album For All the Dogs came out. Joe gave his honest critique on the album. He said he liked the album, but he also said the album lacked depth because Drake is going so far out of his way to appeal to a younger audience.
Rapping for the rappers. I miss the Drake that when he dropped, the rappers hit him. Not these little kids. I don't give a about you and Kai Cenat. That's gonna sound like hate.
He said he missed when Drake used to rap for the love of rappers and not for the love of the children. Then he would name drop Kai Cenat again, basically saying, I don't give a fuck what Kai Cenat feels about the album. I don't like that shit because it's nothing that an adult male can grasp onto.
And I want to hear adult Drake rapping for adult people.
No, you're not gonna hear that.
That's my issue with him today.
You're not gonna hear that because
He rapping for the kids, the streams, the
Instagram
accolades,
comments, the algorithm.
Yeah,
I'm rapping for this. No,
He ain't really rapping. He ain't trying to rap for me.
No.
He brought up Kai specifically because rappers have been going to streamers, either Kai Cenat or Adin Ross. They go there to leech off their audience. So if a streamer says some shit is hot, the rest of the world basically is going to say some shit is hot. And that would cause Drake to have a full meltdown. He released a crazy message disrespecting Joe Budden. Shit, that even caused Drake to put out another like 6-piece just to show he could still rap for Joe Buddens and anybody else who are hip-hop purists who didn't like that young shit. Kai would also respond back like, why do you have to mention me? Why do I have to catch strays for having an opinion?
Let me tell you something, Joe. Yo, Joe. Let me tell you something, Joe. Hey, look, Joe. You know why my mind was like all over the place with this one, Joe? Because I be minding my motherfucking business, my nigga. And somehow, I always catch a fucking stray.
So now that we're all caught up, let's fast forward to this week. Kai was appalled that Killer Mike swept the Grammys, got 3 of them things for the rap categories. He felt like that should have went to Drake in 21 or Travis Scott. Joe felt like Killer Mike 100% earned that. He said Killer Mike had a great project, he'd been talking about it the whole year, and Killer Mike, when he was on his press run, he went to go see Joe Budden, and they talked about his whole life story and how it correlates with the album. So when Kai expressed how he felt about Killer Mike winning, Joe took a clip of that, put it on his podcast, and took a shit on all the young people.
Calm the fuck down. Everybody calm the fuck down.
Listen to young
I don't know
niggas.
who this is, okay? Hey, brother, God bless you. Congratulations. I don't know who you are. Positivity you. Praying for you, bro. Positivity out the window. Who decided this motherfucker? Who the fuck decided this motherfucker? Hornos! Utopia!
Yes, nigga. Yeah, neither of those are better than yes, Michael. Over Utopia.
Metro
Shut your ass up, Nope. Nigga. Yo, y'all little streamer niggas don't always run shit.
Basically saying, yeah, you young people get a lot of numbers, but that don't necessarily mean that you move the needle. This award goes to artists who make actual art and not just people trying to appeal to a young audience. So once again, of course Kai's not going to like Joe speaking on him, so he says, yo, what the fuck is your problem? Why is it every time I have an opinion, you got to shit on me to validate your opinion?
This is what we have here is a case of old nigga syndrome, my nigga. Listen to me. I'm a 22-year-old young adult who likes to sit in his room and naturally, like everybody else, react to music and things like that. Okay? If I think fucking Spider-Man should have won Superhero of the Year, but you think Green Lantern should have won, and Green Lantern wins, nigga, okay, it's your opinion. I'm not familiar with Killer Mike. I was just saying, I felt like Utopia and shit should have won. Bro, why not? Y'all start talking about streaming niggas, bro. Stop doing that, bro. Like, we some little niggas, my nigga. I would buy you, my nigga.
Now, me personally, I don't think it's that deep. Joe is just an older guy creating content. It only really comes off as hate because when Joe is addressing a bunch of people, he usually says the biggest name, and that rubs people the wrong way. And that's why Kai is getting mentioned. It's just like Lil Yachty with the mumble rappers in the SoundCloud era. It's the same shit, different medium. One's hip-hop, and one's streaming and podcasting. I think Kai shouldn't take that shit personal because you're only being brought up because you're the most successful. And as they say, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
Success. It's got enemies, right? Lots of enemies, so. Your success took a shot at you. What are you gonna do now? How are you gonna kill it? You gonna become unsuccessful? Frank, we can be successful and have enemies, right? We can be unsuccessful, too. You know, we can have friends.
But what do I know? I'm just an everyday nobody. Tell me what you think. Is Joe just an old head who hates on anything young? Or is Kai just being a little too sensitive about something that really is a compliment? Tell me what you think in the comments, like and subscribe. And if you like this video, go check out my page. I have more content in the same vein as this, and I have much more to come. I'm out.